Continuing on your lab's research, a major contribution of your work is showing that a subjective value is explicitly encoded in neural circuits. How does the brain represent value across these different contexts, such as maybe money, risk, social reward, or health outcomes?
So, as you know, a core notion of economics is that we can compare apples and oranges. That is to say that we can reduce apples and oranges to a common value metric, and we can compare them. People often say to me, "Oh, you can't compare apples and oranges," but anyone who goes to the supermarket actually does compare apples and oranges, and they buy some basket of mixed numbers of apples and oranges. And so the question really quickly became, is that idea of a single common currency that all objects, whether it's a social interaction, whether it's a amount of money, whether it's a number of apples, we can compare those, we can choose which we want. Economists see that as evidence that there's a single common value representation, UDLs. And is that true in the brain? And that was really contentious in the 1990s and early 2000s. And I would say that my first major contribution was demonstrating that there is, in fact, a single common value representation in the brain. In the brains of humans, it lives in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and the ventral striatum. These are two brain areas, one a little more ancient, one a little more recently evolved in humans. And whether we're talking about apples or oranges or time with friends or dollars or jobs, if you can tell me which you prefer, those parts of your brain show me that that's what you prefer. We can predict choices across types. And so it's true that there are parts of our brain that are specialized for social valuations, and there are parts of our brains that are specialized for food valuations. We now know where a lot of those areas are and how they work. But they do feed into a common representation that allows us to choose between apples and oranges. And I would say that finding that representation and convincing everybody that it really was just the way economists had expected it would look was the first major accomplishment of my career.